Hello, it is Foundation Friday, July 29th, 2022. Steve Sipress here. Just check the 10-day weather forecast, by the way. Uncharacteristically, absolutely spectacular temperatures over the next 10 days, barely getting into the 90s. 15, 20 degrees cooler than we are used to. It's just spectacular, and it's gorgeous and beautiful right now out here. Hope it's fantastic where you are as well. And yes, Rhino of the Day is this fantastic custom, where is it there? This custom Rhino t-shirt I had made up at a county fair years ago where somebody said I can put anything on a t-shirt. I said, make me up a Rhino. And I think I had to come back the next day and get it, or a week later he shipped it to me or something. Like, he took his time and artistically put this thing together. It's 2 rhinos on the shirt. There's 1, there's 2. Gorgeous, beautiful, fantastic shirt. I think there's even another one on the back. We'll save that for another day. Today, right now, let's get into another in our multi-part series on the fantastic foundational book, The Magic of Thinking Big, by Dr. David J. Schwartz. Hopefully you've gotten yourself a copy and it's already underlined, highlighted, dog-eared, starred, asterisk like mine is over the years, reading this over and over ever since someone first gave it to me decades ago, and it was first written back, I think, in the early 60s. I forget the exact date. Fantastic, foundational, classic, timeless book to improve your attitude, improve your thinking, and therefore improve your results, your profits, your enjoyment of life, and for everyone around you as well. So here we are in Chapter 8, Make Your Attitudes Your Allies. And we've been talking about, Dr. Schwartz shared how you must feel important to succeed. And one way to feel important is to help make others feel important. Then you will feel important. And he gave us 3 ways to do it. And here is number 3. Do not hog glory. Invest it instead. And he tells a story, and I will tell you a story, back when I didn't know about this, before someone handed me this book and I didn't realize. And, I've always been a high-achieving, high-performing record setter wherever I've been, especially in sales or business anywhere. And I remember, getting called up, give speeches for why you set another record, or why you won the contest, or why you're number 1 in sales. And I would always say, like, I did this, and me, and because of this. And I remember once I got with a company that was looking to promote. They would start people in sales and then promote people into management. That's where I learned that this style of taking all the glory for oneself, one's own success, not great if you ever want to move into leadership and management. So I got up there when I was new with the company, and they're like, man, even on your first day or your first week, you were incredible and spectacular and unbelievable. How'd you do it? And I was like, aye. And like, looked around. It was the morning meeting, like 50, 60 people in the room or whatever. Nobody responding like they had the other days when people got up and were equally, similarly recognized for their achievements. Hey, you did this and that and whatever. People were like cheering and this. And I was like, nobody responded to me. What's going on? So I started paying a little more attention to what people are saying. And that's the topic here Dr. Schwartz is teaching us. I realized that even if they really did do everything themselves, they were like thanking the person that trained them. And they were thanking the person that hired them. And they were thanking somebody who just said something to them at the end of work one day, experienced person that shared a tip with them. And I was like, And those were getting all the responses and the high fives and people loving it. And I was like, man, that's when I first realized what a dork. It took me how long? I think I was over 30 years old till I first realized this principle. Make others feel important, and then you will feel even more important. Similar story that Dr. Schwartz told here about somebody else. I just told you one about myself, and he finishes it by pointing out that this manager he was talking about knew that praise, like money, can be invested to pay dividends. She knew that passing the credit on to her people would make them work even harder the next year. And in my case, the story I just told, passing on the credit to others and make others want to be around me and want to be with me and want to be on my team. So I learned over the years that I have a general rule. Whenever anything goes well, it's all because of my client. It's all because of my team members. It's all because of somebody else. Anything ever goes bad, it gets screwed up, that's totally my fault 100%. Maybe we'll be covering that later in this book. It sounds like that's where I got it from, but that's served me well over the last at least 30 years. Remember, praise is power. Invest the praise you receive from others. Pass praise down to your subordinates, where it will encourage still greater performance. When you share praise, your subordinates know you sincerely appreciate their value. And I call them team members because even though they're employees or subordinates or whatever, I consider them team members that we're working together, working with them. Here's a daily exercise that pays off surprisingly well. Here it is. Ask yourself every day, what can I do today to make my family and my spouse or my partner happy? This may seem almost too simple, but it is amazingly effective. Then he tells a story about once having a training program, and he said to the high-performing business people, and he asked them, when's the last time you got an unexpected gift for your spouse? In this case, it was all men. This was the early 60s, and for your wife. Other than her birthday or anniversary or Christmas or whatever, when's the last time you got an unexpected gift? And people he said, they were like, oh, I already turned the page, but they were like, oh, 3 months, 6 months, I don't remember when, never. He was like, what? Okay. So he said, here we have 50 red roses, a local florist, and you can have them all for just 50 cents a piece, which I'm guessing back then, that sounds like a little expensive even, because probably real recently he'd even get them for $1 or $2. But anyway, and he said, and then the message went, I'm paraphrasing here, that he said, and if one of you thinks your wife isn't worth the 50-cent investment, I'll buy it for her. And everyone laughed, and of course everyone gave him 50 cents, got the rose. He said, all I insist is that you take it home, you give it to your wife, you don't say why, you don't say because you got the idea from me or any of that, you just say, honey, he said they all agreed, they all got it, and then you have to come back tomorrow and the next day of the seminar and report back what was the response, the reaction of your wife. And he said, without exception, every fellow testified the next evening. Fellow tells you the book was written in the 60s. Every fellow testified the next evening that the mere investment of 50 cents made his wife happy. Do something special for your family often. It doesn't have to be something expensive. It's the thought that counts. Anything that shows that you put your family's interests first will do the trick. Get your family on your team. Give them planned attention. And that's the key, planned attention. Then he goes on to show how, people are busy and can't find time for the family and the kids and the whatever. And so he gave one example here of an executive who said, look, I have a tremendous amount of responsibility. I'm always busy, so this is what I do. I know that I will not neglect my family because that's the most important thing in my life. It's the main reason I work as hard as I do. So I've worked out a schedule that enables me to give attention to my family as well as to my work. So when he comes home from work, has dinner, and then for 1 hour after dinner every night, he hangs out with his kids, where he devotes his time to his 2 young kids, play games with them, I read them stories, I draw, answer questions, anything they want me to do. After an hour with those kids of mine, they're not only satisfied, but I'm 100% fresher. Then they trot off to bed, and then I settle down and do a little bit of work, going over the day, maybe has an important meeting to prepare for the next day, whatever. Then he says, at the end of that, I quit working and I spend 1 hour with my wife. We talk about the kids, her various activities, our plans for the future. This hour, undisturbed by anything, is a wonderful way to cap off the day. Planned attention. So the kids, the wife, and the guy himself, they all know this is what happens every day of the week, during the week. Then he says, I also reserve Sundays exclusively for my family. The whole day is theirs. I find my organized program for giving my family the attention it deserves is not only good, not only for them, but also good for me. It gives me new energy. So there are some tips from the master, Dr. David J. Schwartz, in The Magic of Thinking Big, of how to make others feel important, which will in turn make you feel important, which will make you more successful. And Mark Mawhinney is here. fantastic to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing fantastic. And I know you don't need any of this stuff because you're always thinking big and you're wildly successful. And I'm sure you help everyone around you to do the same, as I'm hoping you, watching this, reading it, listening to it, however you're getting it, leave me a comment, question, concern, anything at all in a comment below, or send me a private message on Facebook, or email me, steve@stevesipress.com, anytime you want about anything you want. I can't say I can answer everything immediately, but I do get to everything and respond where appropriate and when appropriate. That'll do it for Foundation Friday, July 29th, 2022. I will catch you back here again tomorrow on Social Media Saturday. Have a fantastic start to your weekend. Over and out. Bye-bye.